Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. So, my family, or at least my wife and one of my sons, were able to go and watch Captain Marvel today. I wanted to see it for myself and make my own judgment on it. And I gotta say, it is actually an entertaining film. Yes, it's an entertaining film. Now, it's not great and it's not terrible as well. It's about an maybe above average film. It's a decent blockbuster flick. It's a good theatrical experience, and that's what I got from it. Now, on the positives, and it first starts out when you actually see the Stan Lee tribute. You have that Marvel logo and in the music, and you usually see all the characters: Captain America, Iron Man, blah blah blah. Well, you actually see Stan Lee, Stan Lee, and a thank you to Stan. And I thought I really appreciated that, and I think that was kind of a cool thing to do for Marvel to do for this particular movie. Now, I want to tell you straight up, this is going to be spoiler filled. I'm not going to hold back, and this is the only review I'm going to do for this. So I'm just going to spoil it. A lot of different things in this video. So if you haven't watched it yet and you intend to watch it, then go ahead and watch and come back to this if you want. If not, whatever. But I'm not going to hold back. So the first thing about this movie is that when they get to the first act where it's on Kree, that civilization that all the main character, Brie Larson's Carol Danvers, her name is Vree or something, and so that's where she's from, as we kind of think she's from. And so it's really cool, nice city landscape. It's almost like the Green Lantern movie a little bit. But I enjoyed that first act because you get to see them go on a mission. And then the first instances of hearing the music as she's walking slowly towards the ship, and you see that in the trailer as well. When the music kicks in, I'm like, oh, yeah, I like this music. Okay, all right. I can get into this kind of music as she's walking towards the ship. It makes you want to slow walk with her. But it's that kind of, it was cool. It's that Armageddon slow walk, and I guess the right stuff, and they even point that out in one of the VHS boxes when they get to Blockbuster. But the right stuff type of thing going on to it, and I kind of dig that because that is, I guess that's a 90s reference. Well, yeah, I guess that's a 90s reference. And that's the thing. The 90s references there's a lot. And it's mostly only in the second act, most of the time, when she gets to Earth. She crash lands into Blockbuster Video. I'm pointing out things. I'm chuckling at Radio Shack. I'm chuckling at the dial-up and the CD-ROM loading. And my wife and I are like, that's fun. Yeah, that's funny. And my son's like, what? I don't get it. What? I don't get it. What? And I'm like, it's okay. I'll tell you later. I didn't tell him later. But those references, for people who know that, who understand that, will get it and will enjoy most of it. For the younger crowd, I don't think so much. I don't think they would get it, and that part is really, it just goes over their head. So maybe for that fact, that for people who know the 90s would enjoy that a little bit more, the pop culture references and stuff. But that occurs mostly in the second act. And I like the CGI fighting here in comparison to the actual fighting, okay? The CGI fight is actually a welcoming scenes in this movie, because the actual close-up fighting is terrible. It's terrible. And for an example, especially the fighting that goes on in the ship, it's dark. The fights are really, like, the editing is really jarring. It's essentially, I wish they pulled the camera back. And let her fight 3 or 4 guys in one shot, as opposed to hit, cut, hit face, cut, bam, cut to the floor, cut, 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 cut. And it's just so jarring. And I was like, that's just terrible. It's just, they usually do that to hide the fact that she can't fight. But I thought she did some fight training, right? So I wish they would hire the John Wick guys, for instance, where the camera's pulled back. You can see Keanu Reeves doing all these different moves, or even okay, if you're triggered by men, like Wonder Woman. Okay, you see her, she's fighting them. The camera's pulled back. She's doing all her moves, showing her choreographed moves, sure, but showing that she's badass without having to cut, 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 cut. The Russo brothers, I think, hired the John Wick team. So the Russo brothers, like the airport scene in Civil War, or even the last battle where Iron Man and Captain America and Winter Soldier, they're fighting. They're bam, bam, bam. It's just one continuous shot. One, like, it doesn't cut from fist to face, cut from face to ground. That's so jarring, and that's the one thing that's so terrible about this Captain Marvel movie, and it really took me out of it. It was so confusing and so dark in a lot of those scenes, including the train fight. And you see that in the trailer or a teaser spot or something, where he gets hit, Buzz hits the train, she gets hit down. It's like, you don't have to do that. You can just, if they're really good at and choreograph those fights, just have that one shot, for most of the action, and you see it. It's just will work a lot better, at least for me. So that's why I said the CGI fight is better, because during the CGI fights, especially the first act, which they're on that Skrull planet or something. And then a lot of action there where they have to use some CGI, have to use a lot of high-flying stuff. And then the ending where she goes all super badass and powerful, destroying ships and doing like that. Those are a welcome addition when compared to the terrible close-up fights. I think one close-up fight I was okay with Ben Mendelsohn's character. I forgot his name. He's a Skrull leader, and Nick Fury in that library, or in that Area 51 or whatever. I don't have no idea where they were, but they were in that, and they did that little scuffle. I thought that was fine. You can actually see what's going on there, and you actually see them perform those choreographed moves, unlike some of the stuff that Vree was doing on the ship. It got a little bit better when she was fighting her own teammates in the third act on the ship, when she finally got her powers. It was a little bit better in there. But the first act, when she's escaping that Skrull ship, it was kind of like, that was very, very bad. Let's talk a little bit about the plot twist. All right, this is the big plot twist that I actually enjoyed, because I kind of knew there was going to be something wrong with that Jude Law character, right? There's two plot twists, actually. But let's get into the first one. So Ben Mendelsohn is supposed to play this evil Skrull villain, and it turns out that they are the good guys. The Skrulls are the good guys, get turned around. Their Skrulls are actually the refugees in this whole thing. And so when it gets to the second plot twist, maybe the third plot twist, I guess. Well, second plot twist. Is that Jude Law's team, of course, is the bad guys. They actually were the one that shot down her and the professor's ship as it crash lands. And the professor wound up actually being a Kree herself, who was actually Marvel. Which was also kind of confusing. When they said she was Marvel, I was like, wait a minute. I don't know Marvel too much, but I could have sworn Marvel was a dude in the comics. I don't know. I don't really know. I gotta check. I should have checked out that before I talked, but I thought he was a dude. But anyway, she was a Kree, and then Carol Danvers is not a Kree. Of course, she's human. You get all these different spots where she's trying to get her memories and stuff uncharted, and so they finally got that moment where she realized Jude Law's character is the good guys, right? The bad guys, sorry. And so that was the thing about Jude Law. I forgot his name, but what was intentions? Now I already told you this is all spoilers, but what was intentions with her? Because she got the power. He got her, and then he kind of made her his a teammate and stuff like that, or someone that part of his team. But what was he gonna do with her? I don't think it was really quite clear. Did he like her? Did he just want her to submit to him or something? I have no idea. Like I thought they were gonna play it where he was gonna use her or to defeat Ronin, kind of like how Ronin, and he's in this movie, wanted to get the stone and become super powerful and to take on Thanos himself, right? But we never really got that from Jude Law's character, and so it was kind of unclear what his intentions were. I just knew he was kind of a bad guy from the beginning, and then he turned out to be a bad guy, but I think that twist, his character could have been molded a little bit more. But Ben Mendelsohn's character, which is a Skrull, and the reveal that he had a family and the stuff, I thought that worked really well. It kind of takes you about war. It has a little bit about war, how it's not necessarily good guys or bad guys, just one side or the other, and each side has their innocent people, casualties and stuff like that. And I dug that. I dug that they become the good guys of this whole thing, and that gets to the point where there's really no strong villain here, because the villain that we thought was a villain turned out to be a good guy. And the villain turned out to be a very bad villain, like not bad as in an evil, but it's just not powerful, especially when it comes to when Captain Marvel becomes how strong she is. I thought that whole thing with the AI, where she was the artificial or super intelligence, that would have been really much stronger. And then maybe Ronin would have come and she'd have to fight Ronin, but that didn't happen at all. And so I thought that was kind of like, I wish the third act was longer. Like I wish she would do a lot more powerful Goku type stuff, Superman type stuff when it came to outer space. But I thought that was a little short lived. I could have used another battle with Ronin or something. I think that would have been a lot better. But a couple things about the characters themselves. We'll start with Nick Fury. I'm okay with it because this is Nick Fury when he's younger, right? And so he's not as badass as he is when he's older Nick Fury. And I could have got that. My wife thought different. My wife said they really dumbed him down so that she could become up, she could be raised up. And I said, well, this is younger, so this is like 10 to 15, 20, I don't know how many years difference between current Nick Fury, so he could be that experienced. But I did have but he was supposed to be like a smart guy. And for him to, when they're stuck in that room, knowing full well she had those blaster powers, and yet he still went to try to get that fingerprint anyway, when I think current Nick Fury would have said, will you mind? I know you can shoot that, right? And so that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that comes to either they wrote the character in that way to make him more dumb, or did they, or they're just implying that he's so much of a rookie that he wouldn't have got that right away. I don't know. I guess it's up to how you want to see it in that sense. And then that gets to the Goose character. Goose is the cat. Not a big deal. It is surprising. It turns out to be an alien that eats things. That actually surprised me when it came. The tentacles came out and ate the bad guys, and we're like, whoa! It just like I was like, whoa! It just ate them. Oh, wow. And I don't know why they threw that character in there. It didn't really need Goose. It did explain how Nick lost his eye. Yeah, that's right. Nick Fury lost his eye because the cat scratched it, which is kind of funny in a non-good way. So that even adds more to him being of a dumb character and not the Nick Fury we knew. Of course, we always knew Nick Fury lied and to make you do things and tell stories and stuff like that. But it just, I don't know. It's like the Solo film. Like they really all these different legendary stuff, and when you finally found out how that certain things happens, it's kind of like, eh, is that great? And where is Goose? I mean, where is he in this whole thing? But I'll get into more of that of how it connects to the overall picture. But I'm just talking about this movie in general. So, um, uh let's talk about Brie Larson herself. Okay, for the first time, I was worried she was gonna be very emotionless the whole movie, right? Because of all the trailers we've seen, the TV spots. I'm glad they didn't put in a line. I'm glad they cut out the line. I'm tired of you telling me what to do, because that was really bad. And the other line is, I'm gonna end it. That was bad as well. So I'm glad they cut those lines out. But for the most part, it was pretty dry. It's still pretty dry. They explain it at the beginning why she has to keep her emotions checked. That's the Kree way. Okay, they want to do that. They're trying to do that, and they know. I guess they know that if she gets really mad, she's gonna start bursting out flames like Super Saiyan and stuff like that, and which she does. And then she goes all out. But even how they explain, like, this is supposed to be like RoboCop. I didn't quite get that, because in RoboCop, you felt that that's RoboCop, and then when they show scenes when he's Murphy, he's Murphy. You know what I mean? See, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can tell there's humanity there. When for Carol Danvers, when she's Captain Marvel, when she's Vree, that's supposed to be her RoboCop. And then when she goes back to some certain moments, minus the moments where she's singing and dancing and doing actual human stuff, the way she's just casually talking, it's the same thing. So it's not like there's a big difference in the acting between those two personalities. I love that she would finally almost sort of break out when she finally finds out that the Jude Law character was the bad guy, and she bursts out of the house and she's yelling and she's crying. That was like, oh, there you go. There's the acting. There it is. But when she's starting to do quips and one-liners, and some of them were good, but a lot of them were like she's trying too hard. That was when I was like, well, what happened there? So, I can't explain it. The personality, and like my wife said, maybe it's because she's not a likable person, like she cannot connect with her. But even then, like there are moments where she can bring it. Especially like that moment where she just realized that the Skrull family, the Skrull guy had a family, and then there's all these refugees. She says, I didn't know. And that part where she kind of getting choked up, I was just, there it is. There is that acting ability. Bring out more of that, please. More of that, please. It happens here and there, but not enough to really believe her, in any sense. It was still kind of dry and very cocky, a cocky kind of character. Which is okay when the person is likable, but in this case, I don't know. I don't really care for her. If that makes any sense. Like when Scarlett Johansson saying cocky one-liners, and she's still likable though. When she does it, it's like you still like her. I don't know. Gwyneth Paltrow, when she does you can still like her. For some reason, Brie Larson's, it seems more off-putting. But she becomes a really badass superhero, though, with the laser lights and the Super Saiyan thing. I wish that was on forever. I think when she gets that glow up and she does a Super Saiyan hair, I wish that stayed. I wish she just stayed like that and started blowing up ships without. I think it's almost like she's, well, let's calm down. Well, of course, it's the diversion to fight her team, she really was pulling back. But I wanted to go off full out all the way towards the end and have even more of that fighting and stuff like that. Now, so that's the movie. I'd said it. It's an entertaining a film. It's a good theatrical experience, but it's above as a film. It's above average. It's not terrible and it's not great, but it's above average. And like I said, the fights, but the CGI fight, all right, in comparison to that fight, but it really is a Phase 1 film. It really is a Phase 1 film, even though I like more Phase 1 films better than this. Like, Iron Man 1 is still one of the best movies out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But I would say that I wish this movie had came out during Phase 1. If this movie came out Phase 1, I wouldn't have a problem with her being plopped into Endgame. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love Infinity War. If you see my review, I love Infinity War, and I think it's an earned movie for the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe with all the characters involved, including Thanos, who was built up to be a badass, and he became a badass, and I don't know yet. We could watch Endgame and this could not happen. But I hope that they're not bringing Carol Danvers in to end Thanos in Endgame. And if they do that, it's not going to be very satisfying because we literally just got her. And that's the thing about this movie. They plopped things in that wasn't part of they plopped things in to explain some things, but I think it's like an afterthought. It's like an afterthought, Nick Fury losing his eye. They're throwing these things in the 90s and the Tesseract and stuff like that. You can tell because there's no mention of Goose. There's no cat. At least I don't remember a cat being around Nick Fury in his office or anywhere near him or anywhere in the thing. Captain America was supposed to be the first Avenger, but he names the Avengers initiative after Carol Avenger Danvers on the plane, right? So, and my God, you had this powerful being when the Earth was going to be wiped out, not just once, not just twice, 4, 5 times the Earth is going to be wiped out. You didn't bother pressing the pager to call the most powerful Avenger to Earth. What are you doing? So that means, and that just shows how much of an afterthought this filler episode is to the grander scale. And I'm talking just about the grander scale and how it puts this in. And that's what makes it a little bit more disappointing, is that it's like, we don't know who's going to end Thanos. You know what? We want to throw this person in. And then in order to throw this person in, you have to know a little bit about her, and then we'll end Thanos with her, and she'll be like the most powerful thing. Even in the post-credit scene, okay, where it shows a little bit Endgame, the pager goes off, and the pager goes silent. Black Widow turns, and she sees Captain Marvel just standing there, and she's like, "Where's Nick Fury?" It's so anticlimactic in that sense. One, in the way she comes back, and I hope that's not how she comes back. If you want to make a big deal, go all out, make a big deal. That base should have been earth-shattering. There should be shaking. There should be there's something coming. It's coming in fast. Big entrance for the most powerful Marvel superhero. Come on, make it big, but no, they made a horror movie out of it, and just So hopefully in the actual movie they do that. But 2, it's like, there you go. she just literally came out of nowhere. And if she ends Thanos, it's gonna feel, I guess the word is like unearned in a way, and I would be really disappointed. Hey, but if Nebula comes in and is able to do all that and Thanos, I think that's a little bit more earned than actually, Carol Danvers. By the way, I pointing this out is that Nebula, who is like mostly robotic, Karen Gillan's character, she's mostly a cyborg. She has more emotion and acting chops than Brie Larson in this movie. I know Brie can act. She got an Academy for Christ's sakes, but she phoned it in this one. And so I just had to point that out. And Nebula, who is like mostly robo, can act more and with more range than this lady, then I don't know what we're talking about here. But in any case, I am looking forward to Endgame. I want to see how this ends. I want to see how they pull it all together before judging, finally judging how Captain Marvel fits within the story. If she's going to be the figurehead of all this, then I would think she will probably be one of the ones that defeats Thanos. And then she becomes like what she's going to be is she's going to be the Tony Stark from now on, collecting all these intergalactic people, Eternals, maybe Fantastic Four and stuff like that. And so that is kind of like, well, okay, we'll see how that goes. But for a Phase 1 movie, it's properly entertaining. But I guess you can say for a movie it's all the way down this line, it should have came out earlier. It should have came out way, way earlier. That's what I wanted to say about that. So, any case, Captain Marvel. Those are my thoughts on Captain Marvel, and it's above average film. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. So, those are my thoughts on that. Hope you like those thoughts. If not, you know where to go. All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.